Around 4.5 billion years ago, there was a huge ball of gas hanging in the space. There were asteroids hitting it, volcanic eruptions, lightning, raining, and almost all kind of chemical reactions happening there. It resulted in formation of water, and this water at its right state at right time got hit by the lightning, and the electrical charge in it helped in formation of a chemical chain reaction. This reaction resulted in first unicellular organism. After many long years, an extraordinary thing happened to this unicellular organism. It splitted and produced an exact copy of its own. But one day, an accident happened, and instead of splitting, it got merged, forming a multicellular organism, the very first multicellular organism, and this again got splitted, producing the first copy of another multicellular organism. And this merging and splitting happened again and again and resulted in forming many multicellular organisms. And one such organism ended up becoming a worm. This worm swam across the sea of darkness, and it needed to see what is happening around it. So it started developing an eye. When the eye got developed, it started seeing what is there around it. It could see other organisms that were also the descendant of those multicellular organisms. And now it has to sense what is happening around it, and it started developing a small brain to sense what is happening around it. This led to the development of the first fish-like organism. Now remember, we have this multicellular organism that was developed into many other type of species, and they became the predators of our fish. So our fish has to tighten up or toughen up and started developing the jaw and a teeth. And that is not the only predator it has, and there were also the bigger fish from which it had to escape. And so one day it fell into a shallow or a stagnant water to escape from it. This shallow water might be the safest place, but it is not the ideal place for a fish to live. So the process of natural selection kicks in and it started to breathe, resulting in formation of amphibians. Now this organism has both the gills and the lungs. And for the first time, it lifted its head above the water and saw what is outside. And it could see the land with all kind of foods in it where it could survive. So it came out of it. This species was always in water, and its skin were all very smooth. Though it could find more water, the temperature and the environment outside was not as good as it looked. The process of natural selection kicked in, and the skin got toughened up and the limbs got developed. It has now become a reptile. It has to smell its prey and it has to capture it, so it got its brain developed again. And it also has to fight with its other similar reptiles, so we have to have a strong jaw now. So the jawline also got developed this time, resulting in a much stronger reptile this time. When life of this particular species of reptile was going smoother, the earth has again a major change. There were eruptions started happening in our earth. So our reptile somehow managed to escape that chaos and now has a different structure, a lizard-like reptile formed only to find another major crisis. It's the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are another evolution from another reptile, and we have to escape from this. So the only way to escape from that large species is to become much smaller and to become nocturnal. staying awake at night and finding food at night so that you can escape from the dinosaurs. Being awake at night and searching for prey needs to have exemplary sensory organs. We developed a greater sense or smell ability and analysis ability to find where the dinosaur is, where our predator is. This time everything was going well and good for the dinosaurs, being the very powerful organism on the earth. But again, there was another crisis faced by our earth. The asteroid started hitting the earth, leaving it full of dust and rocks. We managed to survive, but for the dinosaurs, it became the end. It was huge and it has a big appetite, and due to lack of food, it became the end of it. On the other hand, we managed to survive with the bugs and the insects. But after all these things came to an end, the earth became the different place. It was full of trees and we have to get our foods from the trees. So a different species emerged which leaped through from one tree to another tree to get its food. But again there was a change in weather and the forest size became small. So we no longer could leap through tree to tree, but we have to stretch ourselves and had to get the food. So that resulted in the appearance of Australopithecine. The earth was still going through its own evolution process and there was a rift, and because of which there was a huge mountain and there were no rainfall in the place where our Australopithecine was living. Now it has very less trees and plants and they were far apart. So there is no need to leap or stretch from a branch to branch. It has to take its first steps to reach another tree. And this was the very first steps taken by the mankind, the ancestor of the mankind with the two legs. And after we started walking, our back became straight, resulting in the first species of Homo erectus. So we were able to walk miles, but this time we have to safeguard ourselves from other predators. And so as we can see, every time there was a need to survive, there is a natural selection that kicks in and there was a change made to our body. So this time it was the appearance of the brain. The brain became much bigger, resulting in reasoning and analysis skill. So after the development of our brain structure, we became the Homo habilis with extended thinking and reasoning ability. And this is the time where we started using the stones. This is the first time where our ancestors started using the tools, the stones as the tools to get their food as well as to fight their rivals to get the food. Again, this is another survival of the fittest and the natural selection process. As we started holding the tool or the stone to get our food, and the structure of our hands got changed. This is again another evolution. So until this time we were the scavengers, but after this another evolution, we became the hunters. We also started to work together with our own kind instead of fighting with them. That resulted in more food and the best way to survive. It is around this time humans started to use their brain for more reasoning and analytic skill. Fire is another major factor that remains to be the reason for evolution of the current human beings. Primitive man started to live as a community and families because of the fire. The meat fell into the fire by accident, and that led to another major discovery, that is the cooking. The food was very easy to chew and our jaw structure got changed. The molar teeth was no longer used, and the more energy we saved, the more developed our brain became. And when we started to live as a community, we happened to have many misunderstandings, and that resulted in the need for communication. So we started to develop the structure for the tongue and the sound, and that's how it is believed the mankind started to appear and have evolved into what we are today.